So this new place of oneness is where the dreams can, all these songs and all this working, about dream and about, imagining our dreams to shift into a new
Right.
energy of collectiveness has been because that's what's been attacked, the dreams. We were not allowed, you talk about the American dream, we weren't really, most people are not allowed to dream.
Right.
And they don't even feel worthy that they can have a
This is
dream.
so true.
Yeah, so this is the essence of what we're doing.
And it gets pushed out of us at a young age, you know.
So how we're doing it is we're demonstrating who we are, because this is what our lives were coming together. We found that we not only know who we are, but we know who we are together, and what are we here to do. So what we're here to do is to encourage people to keep dreaming on.
Yes.
Whatever dream you had, you think you've accomplished, there's more dreams to be had.
More.
So this is my question to you.
Yeah.
So because every day is new, and if we can really see it as new, so this is a brand new you today.
Yeah.
With a brand new dream, a possibility of dream. Even if you have an ongoing dream, it can still be dreamed, built upon.
That's what gets me out of bed every morning.
Right.
It really is, because I've always been of service. That's always been, if it wasn't in a private setting like my healing practice, it's this more public. I was beginning to tell you what it is about my personal history. So having had this conversation with that woman, at some point, I had been working in television when I first got out of college, because I thought, I want to have pictures that tell stories that help. And I worked in social change documentaries, that sort of thing. Then I had 2 children who needed me desperately, and they really needed me around. They're very intense. You can imagine what kind of children I'd have, right? So they weren't run-of-the-mill kind of, calm little kids. They were just really intense, energetic beings who needed their mom around. And so I thought, I have a degree in psychotherapy from UC Davis. I thought, what, I'm just going to use that. Plus, I'd been studying with channelers. I thought, I'm just going to see what happens. So I opened a practice, and pretty soon I had a healing center, in Marin County, the Terra Linda Healing Center. And I led retreats in Hawaii. You've probably seen I used to advertise those. And, I just loved every minute of it. And then after my children, it's funny, they were really a big part of why I was kind of anchoring my dream closer to my home. And after they were grown and they were in college or, going off, I was sitting in my healing center one day, and I was looking out the window going, I have to get back out into the world. I really wanted to get back to working in social change in a more physical way, like what's tangible, physical, on the ground, earthy. And I absolutely, just like that, I heard a story about a man who had worked in Africa. He had worked there for 20 years, 17 countries. And he worked for the State Department, but he broke all their rules. He refused to sit in his desk and make, reports. He would just put on his, bush clothes and go out and meet people and introduce them to each other and do all this work. And he was a philanthropist, basically. And I thought, this isn't like the charity I heard about when I was growing up, when they would just fly a helicopter in and bring in the pallets of rice, and then they'd leave, and then they'd have to come back the next year. This was, okay, what do you normally do here in your culture? What do you usually grow? Well, maybe if you join with this group here, you could do this and this. He had just changed thousands of people's lives, and I was like, oh my gosh. So ultimately, I started a foundation, which was the Billions Rising, still the Billions Rising Foundation, which is reporting on stories like his, what's being done in the world to make a tangible difference in people's lives that's sustainable. And then from there, my business partner, I have 2 business partners for the World Changers show, Demetrius Jones and Melissa Lamming, and we decided, let's do a TV show that tells these same stories, like find people, interview them, talk to them. And we're, at this point, what we are doing now, we're going up on Amazon in about a week, and I created 16 short form stories called The Weekly Report, and each one of them is a story of somebody or some group who's There's the hippo water roller. So instead of the women carrying the buckets on their heads, there's this big roller that can carry 4 times as much, and they don't hurt their necks and backs, and the kids don't have to miss school and all of that. Or there's the homeless women in Kansas City who are being taught to be professional dog groomers, and they make a really great living wage, and they can control their hours and raise their families. And it's just all these stories, just story after story. There's the shoe that grows in Africa, where it starts like a little shoe with these buckles, and then you can keep unbuckling it, and they can keep the same shoe for most of their childhood, because the kids there haven't had shoes for so long, many of them, and they get to go to school. They don't have foot problems. So all these stories mean so much to me. And you mentioned training, technology training, and that's probably going to be my next project. I'm going back to the Billions Rising Foundation to do this, but we're really interested in creating an initiative that retrains people who have lost jobs, because a lot of people voted whatever way they did in this past election thinking that maybe somebody would save them and bring back their old jobs. And they think that maybe they were shipped to China, but if they went to China, they wouldn't find those jobs. They would find that they were lost to technology. Mm-hmm. Things changed so fast in the world over the past 8 years, and so we're just, it's just a germ of an idea right now, but we got a little donation to our foundation, and we're thinking about creating a half-hour documentary about that, about, maybe finding 3 people who lost their jobs for different reasons and seeing ways that can bring them into a much more contemporary life. So I'd be really interested in staying in touch with you guys about that kind of stuff that you're doing too.
Yeah, the program is just